Let's go through the basics of the West Point Bridge Designer. You open up West Point Bridge Design 2012. I want to create new bridge. Click OK. And this is just giving some basic information. I click Next. We've got No up here. I click Next. This is where you get the information for the entire front page of the sheet. By changing these different things, you can get the different information of the prices down here at the bottom. I'm going to just make, if I do this, make a lower bridge, it makes it a little faster. So I'm going to go with a smaller bridge like that, which would be 113,000 something. I click Next. You go through here. This is some more information, some more pricing to fill out that worksheet if you haven't gotten it done yet. I click Next. This is where I can get a design already set. Here's some different options here. Let's see, I'm going to do, that one is pretty quick, so I'm going to do that one. I click Next, and that just gives me a guide, and I'm just going to click Next, and then I'm going to click Finish. So this is the basic, and that's the bridge I'm going to be making. Now for the other information on the back, if I click Member Details here, this is the yield stress modulus of elasticity, this is the mass density, these are your numbers, and by changing these to different types of materials and different shapes, you can see this is the hollow tube, then you can get your other prices. And so I'm going to go back and I'm just going to do carbon steel. And what you need to do, so now I'm going to make a bridge. I click on the joints and I just need to put joints. These are already there, I think. I'm going to put these here. Let's go along the bottom. I've got to have, okay, those are already there. So then I can click on my members and I just click here. I'm clicking and dragging. You can figure this out pretty quick when you actually are drawing it. You got to do these one at a time as you're connecting them. In the older versions, it pretty much always passed the first time. In the newer versions, it often fails. So now I've just made a quick bridge, all at 140 millimeters solid bar carbon steel. I click this box right here, and that will run my animation. Let's see how we did. Oh, so I actually did make it. So it made it all the way through. And these buttons here you can use. Now this is the, if I click this one, I can then see my view outside of the truck as I'm driving. I can use these to move it around. If this doesn't work, if when you do this, it doesn't work, now to go back, I click this button right here. If it doesn't work, when you click on Test, if you check the Use Old Style Graphics, some of these computers, the graphics cards, are not working right, and you have to do that, and what you get is one that looks like this. It's more basic and it doesn't have these extra controls, but it still has the same effect that you can see what's going on. So once I've done that, I click on Member List because I want to make it cheaper. This is costing $257,000. Everywhere over here where I see compression and tension, any place where it's low, and if it goes over 1, then it breaks. I'll show you. If I take this one right here, I can use these to make it bigger or smaller. If I make it a bunch smaller, I made it down a bunch smaller. Now I'm thinking when I run this, it's going to collapse in the middle there, wherever that thing was. There's the beam that collapsed. So the truck just won't go there. So let me get that back. So now they're all the same. So what I do is I look at these things where it's really low and I make it smaller. And you can do several. If it's like 0.52, I make them a little smaller. And where it's 0, I make them a lot smaller. And periodically run a test and see what happens. You can see how that's very red compared to the other ones because those are the ones I made thinner, and so they're getting redder and bluer. So you just kind of play around with this, and you'll notice now this is 0.89. So that's the one that was really red. I'm not going to be able to do anything else with that one. But this one here, I can make it smaller still. And that one was 0.38, so you have to look at both sides. 0.38, so I can take this one, and make it a couple of times smaller. I'm just going to concentrate on this one area. And now, yeah, you can see how these are getting a darker blue now. Very dark blue right there. So that's how this all works to do that. One other thing you can do to make it cheaper, if I click, not that button, if I click the one that tells me the price, what this is telling me here is, this will get longer as I start doing, watch, if I make a bunch of these, just like a little bit less, and like that. Then when I look at this one at the price, each of these it costs, this is how many I have of each one. And you'll see it costs $1,000 every time I change it. So what you'll see is like this one right here, I only have one of these. If I only have one, it actually is cheaper to make it a larger one. If when I get it as cheap as possible, if I make this, if I get rid of this one and make it 140 instead of 130, for example, that's going to save me $1,000, which is more than I save by making it a little bit less, by making it a smaller one. So that's basically how this all works. You want to adjust on this to get down to as a lower price. I'm at 247. As I do this, oh, that one's all pretty high. So let me get a couple of these. You can see the price drop here as I go through some of these. 243. This one's real high, so I can go down here. Let me get down at least under to 240, and then I'll run it. And that one. So you see I'm already under 240. I've gone down like $8,000. And as the truck runs across, oh, nope, see I went too far. And if I go too far, when I go back to my numbers, it tells me what I did there, that 90, that didn't work. And sometimes you have to look at what's around them on how they support it. It highlights it here. And so I'm going to have to do something with that. Now, as I go, it may only be the one. Let's see if I only go one. It's okay probably until the truck gets to it, and then so truck got a little ways. So this is how you play around with it, and that other cost to get the cheapest bridge possible. When you get all done, and you get some of these other things, when you get all done, there is a, oh, this shows you everything that you're getting here. This shows every member and what it is. There is, you do a printout, and the printout will basically give you this kind of thing. It gives you, there's a printout of this you can print, and there's also a print. I'll show you how to do the printout in class, but basically that's what you want, and you can kind of see these are some different things. That shows the design. So you can make your own or do whatever, but that's basically how you design the bridge in West Point Bridge Design. Oh, and one last thing. You can also try this, just so I forgot to say, the hollow tube. You can try that also on some of these where you can change this to a tube. Tube is good in compression, so it'll give you a boost in compression. In fact, it might even help with that one because that was one was, oh, no, it's sure, wow. Maybe, no, it's compression. Maybe it is tension. Okay, we'll let this, okay, so that definitely, oh, that went to a 3, okay, so definitely it's the, so if I got one that is, for example, this one, this 0.66 in tension, if I change it to a hollow tube, let's see what happens. Holy cow. So play around with that a little bit. I jumped up to 4, but I would have had to make it bigger, but it's cheaper. So that is some other stuff. I can also try these different materials. So that's the other thing that you can do. And I do have this really small. And so it gets pretty, there's a lot of playing around with this to try to get, you can adjust the height, adjust the designs, and try to get the cheapest bridge. One last time. Oh, that's close. Let's see. He pretty much made a nosedive. All right, and there's my sunken truck. And we're done.